I will walk around. If I point at you, you are on the spotlight. All you have to do is give me a word. Let me give you a little bit of a taster of Johannesburg. If I point at you, you give me a word. And we keep rolling. You follow my finger. I'm gonna go right to the back as well. I don't know if you guys can see me, that side as well. Are you guys ready? Ready?
Ready.
Orlando. He wants me to freestyle about Orlando. I'm thinking, which one? United States or maybe Soweto, Orlando Pirates. That's my team, not Chiefs, but they're from the same neighborhood. Yeah, you got it. That's a snap of a hand. Keep moving. Looks like you want to give me a word, and that is... Wow. What? No? Liberation. Want me to freestyle about liberation? Might as well change my form and hold the torch up. I look like the Statue of Liberty, but South Africa went through a lot of liberation. 1947, remember Nelson Mandela, ta or da Madiba. When it comes to freestyling, I want to become a healer. I'm about to come to you. Give me a smile. You're wearing a cap. It's got a lot of red dots. That means the spotlight is on you. Amanda, I wait to, might as well freestyle, go back to ANC, African National Congress, the people all gathered. Remember what Nelson Mandela used to say, the Freedom Charter, jotted in Soweto, and the first thing that he said is the people shall govern, and they stand as a crowd in the middle of Johannesburg with the fist up, and they say Amanda, and that's a little bit of a taster of Joburg. Alright, so I'm gonna start from the very beginning. I'll give you a little background with Johannesburg. Johannesburg became a major city as soon as gold was rediscovered in a place called the West, which is Langlaagte. So that's the south, that's east, so west is that way. This was in 1886. George Harrison, who was from Australia, a well-known character. He was from Australia and also quite well-known for being involved in Australia and some countries in the United States. He actually followed every gold rush in different parts of the world. And if you know, gold prospectors always had a way of passing on information through letters from time and again. So in 1886, they discovered what we call the Golden Arc. At first, they thought Johannesburg was only going to be a gold rush in 1886. So gold rush means you settle in and you quickly move out the area, and then it becomes a ghost town. But only to find out that this Golden Arc stretched from one province to at least 4 to 5 more provinces. So you had like this stream of gold. That's when a lot of these gold prospectors realized that actually they could settle much longer in Johannesburg. You are right now in an area known as Doornfontein. Doornfontein has a history of always being a space that fades out in different timelines of Johannesburg, but it also forms the first part of this first suburb in Johannesburg in around 1896. What that means is that a lot of city planners and developers actually started planning for Johannesburg to become a permanent space. So the first infrastructures that were ever built were around this area, in a place called City and Suburban. So you're looking at 1886 gold rush, 1896 all the way to the 1900s. Those were all development plans on how to make Johannesburg a fully functional city. Now Joburg is probably around 140 to 41 years old. So it's a city that started in 1886 and rapidly became a space where it accommodates different people from all over the world. And that's what gold rushes do. Whenever there's minerals or there's streams of gold, diamonds and so forth, it invites a lot of business. So a lot of business opportunities started from there. And then of course, skipping through the timeline, like from your 1900s, 1920, that's when you started having like different developers from different parts of the world coming into Joburg. We have a lot of influence in terms of like architecture. France, Germany, United States, also Rome. So there's a couple of number of like different styles, especially as you walk around the city. So I'm gonna actually try and cut myself short. I'll move rapidly in between timelines because we could spend another 2 hours here of me giving you a virtual tour. So now Joburg, fast forwarding to around 1940 to 1947. As a matter of fact, you had different leaders that came to Joburg all the way from the 1900s, 1930s, 1940, around 1960, 70, 80, up until now. What I mean is if you track the timelines properly, in around 1904, you had people like Mahatma Gandhi who were very active in Johannesburg. Mahatma Gandhi spent about 21 to 22 years. He was quite active. So this is where he actually started his passive resistance called the Satyagraha, passive resistance. He moved all over Johannesburg in all of the different neighborhoods. The most famous neighborhoods that Mahatma Gandhi held his famous protests in is a place called Fordsburg and also next to Chinatown. So we do have a Chinatown in Johannesburg that came in 1886 because we needed a lot of help in terms of mining. Remember, the Chinese people were experienced when it came to gold rushes all the way from California up until Johannesburg at a certain point. So you can see I'm jumping from one story to the next because that's how versatile Johannesburg is when it comes to different nationalities. So you have people from all over Africa. How did people from all over Africa come to Johannesburg? You now start looking at a rail system that went all over Africa to actually bring a lot of people from different parts of Africa to come into Johannesburg and help out during the mining era. As the story goes, as you know, with every gold rush, people are promised the promised land. But in 1886, going forward to the 1920s, that wasn't the case. So meaning we had a lot of mining compounds that had some harsh rules versus Johannesburg being a space that is a promised land to different people.